Well, Tuesday Wrestling just went by. Right now, we have been waiting for the anticipation on Impact Wrestling. What really happened? What was Don Callis' plan with Kenny when he won the AEW title? We're also going to discuss more what happened on AEW Dark and NWA Shockwave. All of that will be reviewed and discussed on this episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling from AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, many promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host J Rod here. So let's talk about NWA Shockwave. As you're probably wondering why I don't talk about Impact. Well, these are the shows how I started from start to finish. It was NWA Shockwave, then AEW Dark, then of course Impact Wrestling. So we're gonna go in that order. So that way, because I want to save the best for last. Now for NWA Shockwave, it started out with the match with Simone Sherry, someone who I'm not familiarized with, facing off with someone I am familiarized. We're talking about the new powerhouse, Camille. Now last week on NWA Shockwave, she faced the most popular independent wrestler, Heather Monroe, or we know as the Killer Bay. Uh, Camille has demonstrated much of her power as always. We haven't seen her much as a wrestler since the whole thing with the pandemic started. I know she had maybe a match or two, but however, looks like NWA are going to showcase her more, and she was very impressive on this particular match. But do I see her maybe one day getting a shot of the NWA Women's World Championship? Well, we could see that coming down the line in the future, but the real question is when will that happen? So she won her match on this particular night. So let's move on. Right now, there was an interview by David Marquez interviewing Aaron Stevens, who is the current NWA national champion, or as he like to call himself, the third degree national champion. Been revealed that he will be facing next week Trevor Murdoch for the title, and for a long time, Trevor Murdoch has been trying to get his hands on that title because he believed Aaron Stevens doesn't want to put the title on. He runs away like a coward every single time, but this time he will get his hands on it. But Aaron Stevens is confident to believe he will make sure that he will not get that title. Well, we'll just wait and see when we get there on the following NWA Shockwave episode. Next match, we have a very interesting match. Eric Watts, who I've seen many times over in the independent scene, mostly with championship wrestling from Hollywood, facing off against Eli Drake. So basically, this was one of those matches that went a little bit more longer, unlike the first match with Camille and Simone Sherry. It was so brutal because these guys are two of the biggest heavy hitters in the industry. Um, I know that Eric Watts was the Heritage Champion for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, but it was a good one. I liked it. It was so amazing. I wish I could have seen it more, but it didn't happen that way. And it was unbelievable. I loved it. But of course, the match ended in the favor of Eli Drake. Now, if you guys seen NWA Shockwave, you might notice the ring is from the United Wrestling Network. That's how it is. They are in a partnership, so don't be alarmed when you see this. Just to remind you guys. Now we got an interview with Priscilla Kelly. Now it's already been booked. The Priscilla Kelly will be facing for the NWA Women's World Championship against Thunder Rosa. Now keep in mind, she already lost the title prior, but these matches were already recorded like a while back, and now they're showcasing them. Now, I never had the chance to see this match because, as you must know, in Fight TV they do have the United Wrestling Network, for if you have to pay for each of the episodes for $7.99, that's like $8 or so. So I didn't pay for that, so I just waited for a while. But luckily for me, I got to get to see those matches. But it was a really good match. I did like this one. Uh, Basically, I was not sure because here's the thing: Priscilla Kelly is not currently signed with any promotion. As you know, she just recently was divorced with Darby Allin, but it did show she is showcasing more of her wrestling craft that we needed to see because things have not been going well for that. But this match was unbelievable too. I loved it, but of course there has to be a winner, and that winner turned out to be Thunder Rosa. So there will be more of the NWA Shockwave for you guys to see. Keep in mind these are already pre-taped. They broadcast them every week. So I think that's it for now. Let's jump in with AEW Dark. All right, this episode of AEW Dark, it went up to 2 hours and 10 minutes max. A very interesting match. Great wrestlers, some who I have seen for a long time. They seem repeat. Pretty much it. So let's start from the first match. We had Baron Black versus Sonny Kiss along with Joey Janela. So it was a good match. I liked it. Um, if you want to know, well, let's just give out the results because most of these wrestlers they're facing, half of them are mostly the top stars. Others are just the jobbers. In this particular match, it was Sonny Kiss who won by applying that finisher move. The next match is Danny Limelight versus Brian Cage. Now, you can say if you guys seen Danny Limelight, he's a real short guy. Does he have what it takes to beat the machine, Brian Cage? The answer to that is no. So Brian Cage won, as always. And then the next match we have another appearance by Alex Gracia, facing off against the native beast Nyla Rose. As you know, Nyla Rose ate her alive. But however, while the match ended in Nyla Rose's W, Vicky Guerrero put out a promo making remarks about Brandy Rhodes, how she finds her pathetic and all that, saying all this. She criticizes her about the people who were on her side, who she kind of manages or take under her wing, such as Red Velvet or Serena Deb. So basically, she now is entering a feud with Brandy. We don't know when she'll be back. The last time we saw Brandy, she was attacked by Jade Cargill after insulting Cody for calling him for saying that he is not a giant killer, for lying, all of that stuff. So we'll wait for that when that happens. Then we had an next episode with the waiting room with Britt Baker and Rebel. Their special guest was none other than Dustin Rhodes, the Natural. He is already set to face off against a member of the Dark Order. He's going to face off 10. As you know, the Nightmare family and the Dark Order have been in feud since what was it? Since Brody Lee verbally beat up, how should I say, physically destroyed Cody, and have the rest of Dark Order take out the rest of the Nightmare family and all of that. So that's pretty much what happened. But the amazing thing that happened in the waiting room, they had a musical guest, and that musical guest is none other than Marco Stunt. I have to say, I was impressed the way he showcases other skills that make him a good musician. It was pretty good. I liked it. Now let's jump into the next match. We have Aaron Solo facing off Dark Order members 10. He had 5 Allen Angels by his side as always. Uh, this match, it was okay, but I'll give you the clue. It was 10 who won this match for the Dark Order. Next match, we have Louis Vela versus Pretty Peter Avalon, who is now jumping into another winning streak on this one. But however, post match, he did a little promo for this thing where he has like an open challenge type where he calls it Pretty Peter Pageant Provocation. Now, I don't know what that is, but I'm kind of curious to find out where this is going with it. Next match is a 6-man tag team match. We had Sean Dean, Sean Maluda, and Ryzen versus the Gun Club, Billy, Austin, and Colton. They came out with taunting again Taz by using a one of those kind of like golf carts or one of those carts that come out using Taz's taxi. So basically, they were making fun of him as always. But however, this match went into the favor of the Gun Club as always, showing that they are a formidable force. Maybe they could be one of those teams that could compete for the Trios Championship, which is something that Tony Khan is interested in having. Now, the next match, we have a women's match. We have Danny Jordan versus Red Velvet. As you know, Red Velvet has been making headways. She is now growing and growing more as a wrestler. Danny Jordan, well, we've seen her multiple times. I'm not sure if AEW are interested in signing her, but we'll just wait and see. But however, the match ended in Red Velvet's favor. Next match, we had a tag team match. We have Falco and Mike Magnum versus Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus, and Marco Stunt. Now, you can say yourself, wait a minute, J-Rod. Why is Marco Stunt teaming with Luchasaurus? We normally seen Jungle Boy in the mix. That is true. Now, if you guys are familiarized, I don't know if you remember this, AEW Dark film right after Dynamite or before it. So it all depends on how they're going to go with it. But this is not the first time that Marco Stunt and Luchasaurus teamed up. They have teamed up in a Oriental Wrestling Entertainment show out in Canada last year. They teamed up. I don't know why Jungle Boy wasn't there, but it was an interesting combination to see both Marco Stunt and Luchasaurus team up. Now we have seen Marco team up um, with Jungle Boy last year when AEW Dynamite started. So that's one of those things we have paid attention before. That happened, and that's pretty much it. I say it's pretty interesting to see this dynamic, but did it work? The answer to that, yes. So Jurassic Express won this match with an interesting combination of teaming between Stunt and Luchasaurus. I would like to see more of that too. This combination. The next match we have Fuego del Sol versus Brandon Cutler. This is a vlogger from someone from Sammy's vlog versus a guy who's from being the elite. So this was a very interesting match. I have to say it. It was good. But however, does Brandon Cutler take another victory on this one? The answer to that is yes. He took a victory on this one. The next match is Skylar Moore versus Evil Lise. So, if you can guess, yes, Evil Lise won this one. She's always winning by unique striking abilities and adapting to many ways to win. Next match, we have Lindsay Snow versus Big Swole. Well, I'll tell you who won this one. Big Swole won, and it was a good match too. Next match, we have Sodara Chun and VSK versus the Hybrid 2. As as you must know, the Hybrid 2 won this one. That was the result of that. Next match, we have Tesha Price versus Diamante. It's kind of interesting now. We saw these two women, both Ivelisse and Diamante, now in separate matches. But it's cool to see them that way because they're dominant not only as a tag team group, but also as singles competitor. Pretty cool. So Diamante won in this match. Now let's jump into it next. Then we had an interview with the Hybrid 2 talking about, as you know, this Wednesday they will face off against the Young Bucks. If they beat them, they'll get a shot of the AEW World Tag Team titles, which is something that will be coming up soon. Then the next match we have Freya States versus Shana. This is her second appearance so far. I have noticed that near the end of this match, so I'll tell you anyway, Shana won this one, but the way this match ended, she still had Freya in a position for a German suplex, and she wouldn't let go. Now, is there a sign that they could change up her developmental as a character? Well, I don't know, but I'm kind of curious to see that. So if you guys pay attention to that, you guys know what I'm talking about. Next match, we have John Cruz teaming up with Michael Nakasawa facing off against the Acclaim. Now, Michael Nakasawa, as you know, he's been a very sneaky little devil using Turkish oil all over his body, but somehow he was able to hide it inside a turnbuckle. Now, did it work? It did, but however, it did not end in his favor, so the Acclaim took the victory on this one. Next match, we have finally Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. are now giving themselves a tag team name. They're calling themselves the Varsity Blondes. And they are facing against the Dark Order members Alex Reynolds, known as Four, facing off against Colt Boom Boom Cabana. Match was good. I have to say, I liked it. It was good. But this is something interesting. Now, we have seen Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. one, maybe two victories, or maybe three. But this one has shown that they have what it takes to be a well established tag team. Now, some of you say, isn't it Brian Pillman Jr. and MLW? The answer to that is yes, but the thing is, from what I'm understanding, he wants out of the MLW contract. I think he would like to be with AEW, but we'll see what happens. But however, they were able to successfully beat um, Reynolds and Cabana in this match, and that has shown that they are a really good team. We should pay attention. But however, this coming Wednesday they have their work cut out against um, FTR, who we all know is the previous AEW World Tag Team, and they've been tag team in other promotions. So we just gotta wait and see. And they made that very clear on their latest interview. And of course, Dustin made another interview making the same comment that he mentioned on a waiting room. So I think that's it for now. So I think we're ready to talk about the latest Impact show involving Kenny Omega. Okay, so Impact Wrestling also received the same news. They were told they were, in fact, still talking all over social media about the recent event that took place last Wednesday on AEW Dynamite. The shocker of the news was Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship. However, Don Callis got himself involved, helping Kenny to ensure he wins. But however, much of the anticipated answers, what really was going on? How much of this was planned by Don Callis? As you know, Don Callis is not only a commentator for Impact Wrestling, but he's also an EVP member of Impact Wrestling. So that whole thing was been talked about throughout the entire broadcast. But let's start from the first match all the way to the finish. The first match is Josh Alexander and along with Ethan Page versus Motor City Machine Gun member Chris Sabin along with Alex Shelley. The match was good. It was amazing to see. But however, near the end, there's now becoming tensions between both Alexander and Ethan Page. As you know, Ethan Page has a massive ego that he can't control. He did stupid things that Josh Alexander does not like. He feels that you are putting your ego first above everything else. So basically, he cost Josh Alexander's match. So we could be seeing the beginning of the end of the North. Reason I say that is because right now there's been rumors that Ethan Page's contract is almost up. So this means the North could be splitting up. So I'll keep more tabs on that as much as possible. Next thing we see is Chris Bay, who wanted to talk to Moose about their strategy, how to deal with Willie Mack, and of course, the Impact World Champion, Rich Swann. However, Moose, he feels that he has these to do for his job, but however, if he beats Rich Swann for the title, then they'll talk to him. So basically, there's still a bit of a not. It's more like what is going on here, that type of thing. Next thing we have is, of course, a paid advertisement by AEW Dynamite's CEO and owner Tony Khan and commentator Tony Schiavone. kind of saying that they were happy to Don Callis, but they were completely shocked what he did. But they expect him to make the result about his actions this coming Wednesday on Dynamite in Jacksonville. So that's pretty much what they're aiming for. The next match, this was set up a week ago. Brian Myers versus TJP. As you know, Brian Myers has always proclaimed himself to be the most professional wrestler, but when it comes to TJP, he thought that he's a loser. He needs to accept the fact that he'll never be good enough. So he put himself in the test. But however, Brian Myers um, underestimated TJP even though he won the match. So he should know better. Don't underestimate a guy like TJP. Even though you won the match, it's TJP who won the argument. Next thing up we see is Cody Deaner. As you know, last week Cody Deaner was in a match against Swinger, but he has questioned about Eric Young's behavior, his attitude, where he attacked him out of nowhere, telling cousin Jake that he's not a nobody, that he wanted to go out in the ring to deal with it. But however, cousin Jake said he would have his back out him, but he told me he didn't want to. But he said, "Look, he has Joe Daring behind with him. At least let me have your back." So Cody agreed to that term. But however, he told him no matter how the outcome becomes, do not interfere. So basically, cousin Jake was put in a situation where it's like, okay, I'll do it. So that kind of thing. He doesn't like it, but he knows he has to do it. Next thing we see is Rohit Raju making fun of TJP, knowing that he lost, but however that he will have his match in Final Resolution this Saturday, calling it the Rohit Final Challenge. So basically, he's saying, "Oh, your 2020 is not a good year for you." But however, TJP told him good luck. Now, Rohit thinks that, what are you talking about? I don't need luck. You may never know because Rohit Raju cheated his way through to get to the top. That's what he did when he aligned himself with Chris Bay. Now, the next match we have is Eric Young along with Joe Daring facing off against Cody Deaner and alongside with cousin Jake. The match went exactly how Cody Deaner wanted. Jake did not interfere whatsoever, but the match ended in Eric Young's favor. But however, post match, Eric Young wanted to beat down Cody Deaner, and then cousin Jake tried to intervene, but however, it wasn't enough. They were visited by someone who they eventually viciously attack. We're talking about Rhino. So he comes out with the lead pipe. Now, Cody Deaner really, really doesn't know what to make of this. What's going on? Like, he knows what happened, but Eric Young is out of his mind. Now, recently we all know what happened to Johnny E. Bravo. He was shot by Lawrence D. So basically, Dreamer wanted him behind bars. So Dreamer and Bravo were talking to each other about how to handle the situation with Larry D. So Dreamer told him that he'll handle it. He had a kendo stick. Now, however, Larry D made it perfectly clear that he had nothing to do with it, even though he doesn't care. We all know he is the alter ego that his alter ego Lawrence D did it. So he gave him an opportunity. Told him, "How about have a match with me in Final Resolution? If you win, Dreamer, you can lock me up. But if I win, I'll walk with freedom. I'll walk away with freedom." So basically, it was a fair choice what he did. So he accepted the match for this Saturday in Final Resolution. Now, however, while this was happening, Dreamer went up to talk to D'Amore about his worriness for the situation that's taking place now with Kenny Omega. Now, he's worried about everybody in the locker room, how they're going to take this with Kenny, who is the current AEW World Champion from another promotion, being on Impact. So D'Amore said, "Look, just let it happen. Let it happen. But you, Dreamer, are the leader in this thing. You know how to keep everybody in line." So that's what he did. And that's what Dreamer is going to do. He's going to keep everybody in line with everything that just took place. So now let's jump into the next match. This is the final round, the final of the first round The final match of the opening round for the Knockouts Tag Team title tournament. The match is between Kimberly and Deonna Purrazzo versus Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary. Now, the match was pretty interesting. Whoever wins this match will be the ones to face off against Tasha Steelz and Kara Hogan. But however, in this match, it went with a misfire where Deonna Purrazzo accidentally took out Kimberly, allowing Rosemary to pick up the victory. Now, they are amongst those who isn't favored to win alongside Tasha Steelz and Kara Hogan. So that is something we got to pay attention to. Now, in backstage, Alicia Edwards has been occupied. Now, Tennille Dashwood has been trying to have her in her group, but however, she had something occupied, so she told Caleb and Tennille she'll meet up with them later. So basically, I don't know what's going on, but I can guess this whole thing with Sammy is getting under her skin. Now, as you know, Deonna Purrazzo was happy that Su Yung was gone, but however, she will not accept the result of what happened in this tournament. But however, the Moore decided that she was going to face Rosemary for the Knockouts Championship and final resolution. So basically, the more you complain, Deonna, the more you're allowing, the more they put out put matches on in your plate. So that's how it ended. Now, however, the next thing we see is Sammy Callahan. How, as you all know, not about a couple years ago, he took out Eddie Edwards, got into his head, nearly destroyed him. Alicia Edwards comes out, try to give her peace of mind, but however, she served as a distraction for her husband, Eddie Edwards, to attack him. So this is now becoming part two of the sequel of their feud between Eddie Edwards and Sammy Callahan. Now, while he got what he wanted, a little payback, so Alicia Edwards said, I did you a favor, so now it's time for me to do my own thing. So Eddie Edwards says, fine, go ahead. So basically, she gets to do her own thing. Then we get to the main event. We have Chris Bay and Moose facing off against Rich Swann and Willie Mack. Now, however, much of the match, Willie Mack was the one being attacked, being taken out. There were moments he nearly tried to get Rich Swann, but they keep separating him. But however, he was able to pick up a tag. The match was good as well. But however, we will see what's going to happen when after Chris Bay picked up the victory against Willie Mack. Could we see Chris Bay becoming the new Impact World Champion this Saturday? We just got to wait and see. Now let's jump into the real shocking surprise. As you know, Kenny Omega is the new AEW World Champion. But however, what was the motives for Don Callis to get involved? Now, Kenny Omega did state why he used the microphone. He did sign a gentleman's agreement. But however, when he saw that Moxley touched Don Callis, who's been like family to him, he felt that that Moxley crosses the line. So basically, there's that. Now, however, the real question was, why is he in Impact Wrestling? So he kind of made reference saying since he was a kid, he used to collect comic books. And he was saying that I have almost if I collected like the very first issue of the Avengers or Spider-Man. So the idea was, now that he's the AEW champion, he has no problem to obtain the Impact World title. So that kind of makes perfect sense. He's trying to collect every world title there is. So that's practically the motive. And Don Callis is behind him 1%. And however, he did stated that they're going to go collect every title in style by doing a Lex Luger move where he was on tour on the bus. So that's pretty much what's going to happen. But we're going to see what Kenny is going to do this coming Wednesday on Dynamite, which we are going to review on Thursday on this one. So I think that's pretty much it. So right now, stay tuned for more stuff that I'll be shooting later on. We have the Wednesday Night War, and then we got more of the New Japan stuff coming up this weekend. So I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, mwah, and have a nice day. Bye.